Growing up, Christmas was supposed to be magical. The smell of cinnamon cookies, the glow of string lights, and laughter echoing through the house. But for me, Christmas was a reminder that I didn't quite belong. My parents and my 2 older brothers always had their own plans. Ski trips, fancy dinners, family photos that somehow never included me. I told myself it didn't matter, that I was fine spending it alone with a cheap mug of cocoa and some old movies. But deep down, it always stung. The excuses were always the same. "Oh, sorry, Emma, there's not enough space at the cabin this year." Or, "We thought you'd be too busy with work." And I always nodded, pretending I understood. I worked as a freelance illustrator, which meant I wasn't rich or glamorous like them. They lived in big cities, went to fancy parties, and treated me like the family's quiet one. 3 Christmases ago, I decided I'd had enough. I wasn't angry anymore, just tired. If they didn't have space for me in their version of Christmas, I'd build my own. That year, I took every extra job I could find, designing covers, illustrating children's books, even sketching portraits at a holiday market downtown. It wasn't easy, but by the next winter, I had saved enough for a down payment on a small mountain house. It wasn't a mansion or a chalet. It was an old wooden lodge tucked into the side of the Rockies, with creaky floors, a fireplace that smoked a little, and windows that looked out over endless pine trees. When I first turned the key and stepped inside, it didn't feel like I was running away from my family. It felt like I was finally coming home. That Christmas, I decorated every inch of it myself. Handmade garlands, paper snowflakes, candles in mason jars. I even bought a small spruce tree and spent the evening stringing popcorn garlands while snow fell softly outside. For the first time, I didn't feel left out. I felt peaceful. Then, something unexpected happened. On Christmas Eve morning, my phone buzzed. It was a group chat message, one I hadn't been part of in years. My brother Daniel had added me. "We were thinking of visiting the mountains this year," he wrote. "Heard you bought a cabin there. Got room for a few more." I just stared at the screen for a moment, torn between laughter and disbelief. The same family that had no space for me suddenly wanted to visit my place. I could have said no, and part of me wanted to. But another part, the part that still remembered being the kid left out of family photos, said yes. They arrived that evening in a flurry of snow and noise. My parents, both wrapped in expensive coats, Daniel with his wife and 2 loud kids, and my other brother Mark, carrying boxes of food like they were doing me a favor. They stepped inside, looking around at the cabin. "This is cozy," Mom said, clearly surprised. "It's smaller than I thought," Mark added, running a finger along one of my handmade decorations. I smiled politely. "It's home." As the evening went on, I cooked dinner while they lounged near the fire, talking about their jobs, their investments, their vacations. It felt like old times, me on the edges of the conversation. But something was different this time. I wasn't waiting for their approval. After dinner, the kids wanted to go outside to see the stars. We stepped out onto the deck, and even my parents fell silent. The night sky stretched above us like velvet, sprinkled with countless stars, brighter than any city light could ever allow. "This view," Mom whispered. "It's beautiful." I smiled. "It's why I bought this place. Up here, you actually have time to notice things." There was a quiet pause. Then my dad, who rarely complimented anyone, said, "You did well, Emma. Really well." It was the first time he'd ever said those words to me. That night, we sat around the fire drinking cocoa, the kids asleep in blankets near the couch. My brothers asked about my art, and for once, they actually listened. When I showed them one of my illustrated books, the one that had quietly gone viral online, they looked genuinely impressed. By the time morning came, something had shifted. My family didn't treat me like the quiet, invisible one anymore. They saw me, the woman who'd built her own Christmas from nothing but determination. When they left, Mom hugged me tightly and whispered, "We should do Christmas here every year." I laughed softly. "We'll see." After they drove off, I stood on the porch, watching snowflakes drift down over the mountains. I realized I hadn't just bought a house. I'd built my own place in the world. The truth was, I never needed their invitation to belong. I just needed to stop waiting for it. And that Christmas, high in the mountains with the quiet wind and the crackling fire, I finally felt it. Not the family's approval, but something even stronger. Home.